Interesting start to this one with chance of USA, USA. The gambler's got fans. And he's up against the man who asks the referee, how many darts have we got? Maybe just striking up a bit of a relationship with the referee before this one starts. But there's some experience on this stage. And this one could be just as good as the one we've just seen, where John Worsley was defeated by 6-6 to 5 by Neil Zonneveld. Good in spells, but this one has potential. But I don't know who the clear-cut favourite is, Dan.
Yeah, difficult one, isn't it? Danny Baggish has not had a great deal of success at the start of this year, but we also know he seems to be a player who enjoys playing on the big stages. Obviously, winner of the North American Championship a few years ago. We've seen him win games at Ali Pali, some high-profile games as well. The Pro Tour has been a struggle for him, but then it's very, very difficult for players. You know, he's got a family back in the States. He's talked quite a lot about how difficult it is for him to be over here, away from them, chasing his dream of being a darts player. You know, it's a story we've seen a number of times before with other players. It's not easy.
It was a lot easier for me when I came back to the UK, because I already had family here, already had friends here, but what I was leaving behind in Australia was, you know, that was finished. So it was a very different sacrifice I was making. The only thing I was leaving was my job. But when it comes to personal circumstances being the difficult bit, leaving family, we've talked a lot about the late, great Kyle Anderson. And I think one of the keys to success for Damon Heta is that Megan is with him.
Yeah, exactly. 60. You know, Damon's a player who it took him a little while to get round to being able to commit to doing this. He's got a very clear plan, but he's got the freedom to be able to do that because Megan was able to come over and join him, and they're set up in Leicestershire at the minute. 100. And that's, I mean, I quite like how Damon Heta's approached it, where when he's not playing darts, he seems to just tour around Britain and Europe going and seeing stuff. They're seeing it as like a one massive holiday that coincides with him playing darts a lot. As Danny Baggish leaves the big fish, and John Michael,
60,
I genuinely don't know if he was going two tops there or treble 20 for double 10 that first start. It was bang on between the middle of the pair of them.
He just wants Danny Baggish to not be successful on 170. That is the case. And let's find out.
105.
Greece's best ever dart player will find double 10. And he does. Very good indeed. And John Michael is one of those dart players who has decided in his infinite wisdom to become a darts retailer. Very much like Vincent van der Voort and Par Rienen and some other players who escape me right now. But if you look really closely at the darts of John Michael, they're so intricate. It almost looks like a puzzle that needs to be solved by Indiana Jones to allow you to find some sort of archaic relic. They are ridiculously complicated.
Yeah, they're nice looking little artifacts, aren't they? They're a touch of the Yellow Clarsons in how the grip and everything is set up.
Sometimes I don't get dart players, you know. They'll go to their manufacturer and say, I want a groove there, I want a dimple there. And you think, surely it doesn't make that much difference. But having said that, I'm privy to information about Michael van Gerwen. He has had grooves hand-filed on his darts as opposed to machine-milled. We're talking about the kind of difference that you only find in gunsmithing.
Really?
Really.
Interesting. Well, it certainly worked for him last night. Winning just down the road in Exeter in the Premier League. 4 different winners from the first 4 weeks. I do not think it is beyond the realms of possibility that all 8 players win one of those nights come the end of the season.
79.
That was unfortunate for Danny, that one falling on the floor, but it may not affect this leg because John was already in finishing range.
It's got to be really frustrating if Danny Baggish sticks his first 2 darts in the treble 20 here, though, isn't it? I think I should have had a dart at the bullseye. But with John Michael making an absolute horrible mess of that previous visit, this leg all of a sudden is in the balance again.
He's not going to stay on the 60 for double 11. And going bull there for me is
70.
A wrong call.
Danny, you require 130.
Needs the treble. Can't get it.
60.
Staying up there to try and leave double 15.
2 16s. Only just leaves double 8.
16.
That was all very messy again.
Well, the last 3 visits from John Michael, there's been all sorts going wrong. Danny Baggish has been gifted a chance here. And we went treble 10.
$36.
He's got that wrong.
John, you require 16.
He had 70 left. He's hit a treble 6 to leave 52. And after hitting the single 18, he left 34. But for some reason, he thought he was on tops. He's got it all wrong, and he's lost the leg as a result of that.
Well, he didn't hit the double, which, I mean, wouldn't have made a difference to the leg, but would have been very funny. But I was trying to figure out what he'd done there. Couldn't quite tell where the first dart landed, but then when he was going for the 18 segment, not a clue what he thought he had.
57.
Our favourite haircut in world darts, Danny Jansen, is currently playing against Scott Mitchell out on board 6. It's 5-3 to Jansen, both players averaging 96.
60.
Sounds like a good game. Might just get Danny Jansen having a run this weekend.
Yeah, talented young man. Still only a teenager, which I didn't realise the other weekend.
60.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, I know. It's amazing that that hair has taken less than 2 decades to cultivate.
Someone's been putting Miracle Grow in his morning smoothie.
Baggish not
100.
regularly enough in the treble. And you see him shaking his head there. He's just getting a little bit frustrated. He can't... I mean, to be fair, I don't think he's playing much worse than John Michael.
44.
John Michael's happy enough with what's going on, though.
He's probably thinking, if Danny keeps making mistakes, I'll just gobble up the crumbs that are left. And let's face it, if a 2 treble visit comes here, it's going to be John Michael who gets the first shot to finish. Nowhere near.
36.
He's got every right to scratch his head, because this performance so far has been anything but consistent.
59.
Both players are just looking for a 15 darter where they've got a lot of straight shots with trebles in and amongst it. That's the kind of leg they're looking for.
Right, well, Danny Baggish, American player, obviously plays loads of cricket. He'll love this if this goes straight in the ball. Oh, it doesn't even get the 25.
49.
He's one of the only players out there who will understand what a white horse is.
1-4-1 won't go. Danny Baggish on 76. Now, he made a mess of the 70 that he tried to take away. He didn't try and take it out. That was the problem in the last leg. Now then, Danny, do the math, as they say back home.
He's gone 16s first. Treble would have left 28. That leaves tops.
36.
And now John Michael to steal needs 20 more. Where's he going? He's going... Oh, I thought he was looking for the Claris route there. You know, the old Shanghai on 16s.
Well, he rescues it in the end, John Michael. And it is 3-0 to the Deadly Rose. And Danny Baggish, he was left on 65 in the first leg. He miscounted on 70 and didn't hit the double anyway. And then he's missed the double in the third leg. There is not much between them in terms of the standard, but everything is going John Michael's way.
This is turning into one of those games that Kim Huybrechts once described every time he played Terry Jenkins. He said, no matter what I did, Terry Jenkins had the answer. He was my bête noire.
57.
Sometimes you come up against players like that who, no matter what you do, they seem to have the answer.
Well, I mean, right now, Danny Baggish is his own worst enemy at the minute. John Michael has been allowed to be 3-0 up in this game, despite averaging just 73.
60.
Yeah, that's not going to make you feel better. But fortunately enough, these players do not see
60.
their averages on the stage, and that is the way they prefer it. They do not want to know about those kind of stats when they're in game. They want to be in a zone. The only thing they want to know is the leg score and what you've got in the leg they're playing. Got some news coming out of board number 4,
87.
which is that Richie Burnett is out to Ryan Harrington, who's played well again with another average in the mid-90s. He's won 6-3.
40.
Ryan Harrington.
58.
Now then.
18.
Well, you can afford to miss those ones, Danny. But to be honest, if he can just play his B or C game here and John Michael doesn't improve, Danny Baggish can turn this around. It is a real struggle for both players. But Danny Baggish has got a leg on the board.
Fifth leg, John to throw first. Game on.
He's definitely got some fans over here. You were talking about Damon Heta getting himself around and making friends and doing things. Well, Danny Baggish has done the same. When he's been in the UK, he's made a lot of friends through exhibitions and going to local tournaments
43.
and just putting himself out there, which is kind of what you have to do.
Well, I think Danny Baggish he's one of the great examples of itinerant darts players. I'm never sure where he's living from week to week. He just sort of surfs around the country, staying at various other darts players and playing in tournaments
60.
here and there in local leagues.
Somewhat attritional match going on the main stage, wasn't there, with Louis Williams and Martin Schindler?
Well, I don't. How many missed darts at double were there in that game? And it, blimey. Okay, so Louis Williams has had more darts at double than Martin Schindler in that game. He's had 20.
100.
He has only hit one of them. Martin Schindler has won it 6 legs to 1. So, double trouble for the Prince of Wales. Not been a good time for the Prince of Wales because Richie Burnett and Louis Williams have both gone out in quick order.
52.
72 won't go for John Michael. He will get more opportunities.
Ideal number from 198 is a 174.
56.
Well, Baggish comes up drastically short of that. Now, John Michael was successful on double 10 earlier. And he is on this occasion on dart number 3. So 4-1 up and doesn't really have to play well. But if he does play well from here, he will get the result.
85.
Talked about one of my tips to have a run today in Nathan Rafferty having a very poor start. My other one, Ross Montgomery. I thought
83.
this sort of tournament lends itself to him because
Interesting.
he's won the Dutch Open in the past. It's a very similar sort of setup in the WDF.
60.
And he's through. He hasn't played brilliantly against Dan Reed, but he has won. So he's into round number 3 now. And he could be a danger later on this afternoon.
100.
Yeah, winner of this into round 3 to face Ron the Bomb Muhlenkamp. And to be honest, if he's watching this one, Ron, he's not going to be
58.
scared.
In all fairness, Ron hasn't played that well this year so far.
No,
so it's
true
not
enough.
the worst draw.
100.
Well, you would think whoever does win this is not going to play as poorly in the next round. But, I mean, it is a puzzlingly flat
100.
from both of them, isn't it?
133.
Oh, that's really interesting. Going 17s first on 133.
What would that have been? Treble 17, bull double 16?
Yeah,
Would that been, and then if you hit the 25, back to the 17s potentially.
That was an Evil Knievel route for that 133. I like treble 19 first because it opens up double double because it leaves 76. Whereas if you get a treble 20, that option is gone. But let's see what he can do with 78. That's a great first start. Double 6. This is a great invitation to John Michael to have a 5-1 advantage.
He was way behind in this leg, John Michael. But double top puts him on the brink of victory. Came good in the end there, and Danny Baggish. Well, it has been a struggle from start to finish for both men, but Danny Baggish has struggled a little bit more than John Michael.
I'm just trying to solve the puzzle that is on John Michael's shirt. I didn't know what was going on with it, but it looks like a whole heap of darts made into a pattern.
It's a big skull on the back of his shirt, isn't it?
Is it?
Yeah.
100.
Bit morbid.
Ah, he's the Deadly Rose.
Makes sense now.
I don't think there's any roses on there. I haven't. Yeah, it's a big skull.
Oh yeah.
There we go.
Oh yeah.
What do you make of the Baggish shirt as a man who's a collector of gambling chips yourself?
I do collect chips from casinos around the world. Nice little thing for me to do. But yeah, it's very him. It's got an American flavour to it. I actually quite like it. For a busy looking shirt,
yes,
it's good.
Well, I'm afraid we can't say the same about the performance. It has been so flat from Danny Baggish, and he'll be absolutely gutted to have come here. I thought that maybe this would be the thing that just kickstarts his season, playing up on a big stage. He is going to be the first American to appear on the European tour in the coming weeks, which is something else he can look forward to, but he's going to have to be better than this, I'm afraid, Danny.
He's going to have to find something in practice. Something's going to have to click. But John Michael is clicking towards the finishing line. Single 18, found. And in every likelihood, he's coming back. Ooh, is he? Is he? He is.
120.
I mean, there was nothing to suggest he was even going to get a dart at a double from that shot. He did, he missed it, and John Michael wants double 5 to win the game.
35.
And 3 missed match darts.
And you require 40.
So close to victory. And he now has to go all the way back. 496 points more to try and do all the legwork once again. And Baggish, we know, no matter what form he's in, he is the king of brinksmanship because he's done it all before.
A flag, Danny, to throw first. Game on.
Well, maybe a bit of a tension breaker. A little laugh and a joke with the crowd. Maybe he can just settle down. Look, he doesn't... John Michael has improved marginally over the last couple of legs. But Danny Baggish could still win the next 4 legs on the spin if he plays anything like his regular game. A mid-80s average here could be enough to turn this game around with the way that John has been playing.
100.
You look back at his career so far, and he has had a lot of close calls and come through some of those close calls. But the king of brinksmanship actually was coined for him just over a year ago when he came through Q School at the last day of asking. But yeah, it's something that he lives by, and I'd like to call him the mayor of momentum, because when he gets momentum, he's a totally different player.
140.
And John Michael gets himself back in the leg.
100.
Just staying straight and picking up a treble per visit, that's going to put you in a decent position in this match. Because there's been lots of mistakes, there's been lots of scruffy visits.
110.
Yeah, the Whitlock route for 110. 19, leaves 91.
50.
No treble, and now it's John Michael 160 for the win. He doesn't get anywhere near the shot at tops.
60.
But he does stay straight. That was the minimum requirement. Leaves him a 2-darter for the match. Baggish makes it 2 legs on the spin. And Danny Baggish might just be entertaining the thoughts that the comeback is on here.
John Michael saw that. He knows there's stuff going on here. As if to say, Baggish believes that he can win from this position. 5-1 is improbable, but 5-3 is doable. But we have to mention it at this point that he's got to break twice.
140.
His demeanour is completely changed. He spent 5 legs of this game just down on himself, not happy with how he's playing. And maybe he'd written it off. Maybe he thought, well, look, I'm not going to win this for him. I'm not playing well enough. But just a little laugh and a joke. He picked up a leg, he picked up another, and he is playing better than John Michael right now. John is he's not trying to engage with any of it. He's just telling himself, just put 3 or 4 good visits together and this game is done. But this could get very, very problematic for John Michael.
Danny's orchestrating this game right now. And I always say that darts is a lonely sport because nobody can help you. But the fact of the matter is, these fans are helping Danny right now.
100, and he required 96.
This is fascinating. He is playing with a smile on his face. And this would be quite the turnaround. The first few legs of this game, Danny Baggish was struggling to get his average into the 70s. He is now pushing it up towards the 80s.
Sensible play there from John Michael, just taking a time out. Little sip of water, a couple of deep breaths, sign of experience.
43, then you require 40.
But he's about to be broken. Double 10. But he isn't. So it's an easier chance than 160, which was his first match opportunity. This is bull first. There it is, 85. Gets closer this time, but not close enough. To keep the match going, it's double 10.
Don't miss inside. Oh, good dart, Danny Baggish. It is 3 legs on the spin.
He's counting them down. This is a dangerous thing to do against a feisty player like John Michael. He's going to see this. And the gambler thinks that he's going to win this 6-5, you know. He thinks he's just ticking them off.
Wow. He needed 4, then he needed 3. Now he only needs 2. And look, Danny Baggish, something had to change in this game. Danny Baggish was just sleepwalking to defeat, offering absolutely nothing. And something has changed.
We've got some bad news for you, Dan, I'm afraid. Andrew Gilding is out.
Oh.
He's lost 6-5 to Graham Hall in what looked like a really good game, both averaging
100.
in the mid to high 90s. So Graham Hall has taken out your man.
Well, Andrew Van Gilding will not be repeating his heroics from this very tournament a few years ago, where he went all the way to the semi-finals and was only denied by a rampant Michael van Gerwen.
Been a great afternoon though, so far. Really enjoyed this.
It's been such a mix of stuff. I mean, look, there's been some stodgy games, but there's been some really good quality. There have been some little moments, and this is something new again. Because the North Americans haven't half-delivered. Drama from Van Dongen, electricity from Danny Lorby, and whatever the hell this is from Danny Baggish, where he has come from absolutely nowhere, playing some of the worst darts I've ever seen him play, and then has just harnessed the crowd to inspire him to something better. And John Michael has got his counting wrong there. He would have left 162. Like, I don't know if he's just made a counting error because sometimes he makes them, or whether he's a little bit rattled. He's trying not to engage. Ooh, I like it.
That was creative. It was correct. And it was executed. That visit was masterful.
100, and you require
Tops for 5-5. And if he hits this, Dan, I'll be really interested to see what reaction he has in the bank. Because he's already thinking about it. You've got a job to do, Danny. Hit tops first. Now what do you do? Show a bit of spirit. We're going to a one-leg decider again here at Reds Bar. It's great stuff. And it's John Michael who's up against it, even though he's got the darts.
Well, there's a bump of the fists. It is a one-leg shootout. And Danny Baggish, the king of brinksmanship, playing with a frown, was getting battered. But as soon as he put a smile on his face, he became an awful lot more dangerous.
What did LL Cool J say in that famous song? Don't call it a comeback. I've been here for years.
140.
Wow, this is an astonishing fight back from Danny Baggish.
43.
I don't think I've watched a game where 10 and a half legs into it, they're both averaging 78, and it has been so captivating for such a big chunk of it.
His demeanour has changed once again.
58.
It's gone from bemusement at his performance to relaxed because he's almost out to focused.
100.
Fair play to John Michael, who has had 9 darts in this last leg. He's got down to 235. It's a decent showing on throw. But 303 needs 7 19s. And he gets 7.
33.
Danny Baggish is going to have a look at the 170 for the match. A man who was 5-1 down. He's already survived 3 match darts to lose 6-1 here. And Danny Baggish could win it with the big fish. Behave yourself, Danny Baggish. No way. Oh, he's missed it by a mile.
25.
Wow. Over to you, John. What can you do on 150? So Baggish is now firmly the favourite to win the match
60.
and has a choice to make.
Danny require 45.
Over to you, Danny. You're doubling down on double 16.
The gambler has somehow won the jackpot. He should have lost it 6-1. But Danny Baggish has turned it around against John Michael to reach the 3rd round of the UK Open. That man, just 15 minutes ago, looked resigned to defeat and one of his worst performances in PDC darts. And all those guys there in Reds Bar have helped him turn it around. An astonishing game. And Danny Baggish, the gambler, living up to his nickname, and somehow an unlikely victory and the baddest of beats for John Michael of Greece.